What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout the course of free agency and throughout the course of, the month of August, which is a very quiet month, Zion Williamson, I guess, trade talks, maybe it's more rumors and speculations, maybe it's just people considering the fact that we should be going after Zion Williamson. Regardless of what you think, it's starting to kind of pick up again, ladies and gentlemen, and it feels like it picks up every year when it comes to Zion Williamson to the Chicago Bulls. And, I've already made a video like this in this free agency alone, but let's talk about it again because I think times have definitely changed, and the way that the Chicago Bulls have kind of expressed what they're doing in free agency, I think plays a factor in what's to come. And I don't necessarily know if Zion Williamson at this point in free agency and at this point in the Chicago Bulls scheme and plans really necessarily works out. So regardless, let's talk about Zion Williamson. Let's talk about the Chicago Bulls. Is it a match made in heaven, or is it something that is a hype dream at best, but we might not get to, I guess, see the light of day? Maybe this never ever gets to see the light of day. But before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know what you guys think about the Chicago Bulls and Zion Williamson. Do you think someday there is a match made in heaven in which this could be a situation we get to see Zion Williamson, who is a phenomenal player, by the way, come to the Chicago Bulls, be the superstar that we need him to be, and that everything can run smoothly? When Zion Williamson is healthy and playing at his best, he is a threat to the league. He's a phenomenal post-present, highly athletic player, can do it on both sides of the floor, and is someone that teams need to watch out for. You can't simply just play Zion Williamson one-on-one and get away with it, because he's that big of a force when it comes to driving to the lane and doing all those things. Yes, you'd like to hope that one day he could kind of spread his game to the three-point line and stuff of that nature, but all in all, a threat to the league in every sense of the word, right? So I guess the question we could truly be asking here is, why would the Bulls not want to do a deal like that? We've been rumored with Zion for years. Literal years we've been rumored for Zion Williamson. So why would the Bulls not want to do such a thing? Well, the big obvious answer here is the answer we had probably 3 years ago when we were talking about Zion Williamson. It is the injury record, ladies and gentlemen. He just can't seem to stay healthy, and this is what the Bulls should be trying to avoid. Injury prone or players that can't seem to play a long period of time. We've had injury prone players on this team for way too long. It started probably with the Derrick Rose era, but it's moved on. We've had a lot of point guard issues. Lonzo Ball is probably the main one now that we could talk about. The last player that really had big injury proneness. Zach LaVine had injury prone seasons. So you'd want to try and avoid things like this. You'd want to have players that are available to play. I mean, the best saying is the most important, I guess, skill to have is availability, is to be there ready to play. Some seasons Zion Williamson can do that. Most seasons he has proved he cannot. So that's probably the biggest risk that we take when you try to do a trade for Zion Williamson. I can understand why the Pelicans would want to move on from Zion. They are kind of going down a different route. Zion, I think now is 25, if I'm not mistaken. So he's getting towards the years where you're not thinking of young development and growth. You're probably thinking this is what he is and whether or not that's going to be enough. You have that conversation internally within your organization. You make a decision from there. I can understand why the Pelicans might be considering moving on from Zion, and I could even understand why the Bulls would want him. We are a large market, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you like it or not, we're a large market, and we probably are in need of, I guess you could say, star power. We are in need of star power. With a large market and Zion Williamson, it only makes sense. And plus, he wants to play for Chicago. He's kind of said it publicly. I know that hasn't really translated to anything, but he wants to play in Chicago, which is always nice to have. A superstar that wants to play in your city. It only makes sense that the Bulls would be interested. But yes, the big injury record is probably why we've stayed away. And to be honest, I do think another reason why the Bulls have stayed away from a deal like this is what they would have to give up to get a Zion Williamson. So we're speaking about trades, right? But ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you this. I mean, maybe you guys would be willing to get rid of these guys. Would you be willing to get rid of Josh Giddey for Zion Williamson? Would you be willing to get rid of Kobe White for Zion Williamson? Or the one that probably hurts the most in the heart of the Chicago Bulls fan base, would you be willing to get rid of Matas Buzelis for Zion Williamson? Some will say yes. Some are just the biggest Zion Williamson fans that absolutely think we should trade our whole franchise to get Zion Williamson in here. Some people will be a little bit more skeptical because yes, Zion Williamson is better than all those players I just mentioned. But the difference is, those guys are durable. Kobe White is a durable player. He had one big injury that took him out for most of a season, but since then, he's been durable, he's been playing, he's been ready, he's been healthy. Josh Giddey, durable player. At least last season he was. I'm pretty sure for most of his career, he's been a relatively durable player. And I very much respect that about Josh Giddey. And it's another reason why we probably should be keeping him long term, because at least he'll be playing. You know, when we had guys like DeMar DeRozan, what made us so appreciative of him is his durability. Guy doesn't want to take a break. Guy doesn't want to have a game off. He wants to play each and every single time he's on the court. So we have players like that right now. Matas Buzelis had a great first season in terms of durability and health. He played a very big, I guess, part of the Chicago Bulls and how healthy we were last season for the most part. So, you know, yeah, Zion Williamson is better than all those guys. But should we be risking those guys to bring in a Zion Williamson? I think in an ideal scenario, I mean, we might have to do the research on when Zion Williamson is a free agent. I would absolutely love if we could get Zion Williamson without the stress of a trade involved. So let's take a look. Zion Williamson free agent contract. I want to see when he's a free agent, because that might really determine things for me. There we go. Oh my goodness, there's too much reading here. He signed a 5-year, is that 197 million? Oh my goodness, that's a lot of money. So he's making around 40 million, 50 million per season, something along those lines, you know, something around, it's around 44 million towards the 2027-2028 season. He'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2028. So that's about 2028, 2029. We're at 2025. So 3 years, I think, left of his current contract. It's a long time to wait, ladies and gentlemen. But if we have truly developed these guys into the right pieces, you know, we developed Matas Buzelis into a formidable player, potentially, hopefully, superstar status. Kobe White has shown consistency as a lethal scorer in this league. Josh Giddey being the floor general that he is. Yeah, we're going to have to pay those guys money, but Zion Williamson could be that big missing piece in a team that could get us to championship level if you'd bring him in with the development of everybody else. It could look like a match made in heaven. I don't think he interferes with anyone. I mean, Matas Buzelis is a different kind of player to Zion Williamson, so I truly think they could play together. Josh Giddey would probably love a guy like Zion. Kobe White is still going to be Kobe White, scoring at a very high level, 3-level scorer and everything in between. Yeah, Zion could definitely be a threat to that. Absolutely. But I'm more in the mindset these guys need to play together. I don't want to sacrifice one to bring in Zion Williamson. If you want to build a championship team, you need to find a way to make these guys play together. If we could see that, then in 3 years' time, when Zion Williamson is an unrestricted free agent and knowing that he wants to play here, you could use that to your advantage. You definitely could. But if for whatever reason 3 years is too much time to wait, my question is, can you get Zion Williamson without sacrificing those three guys? Can you get maybe it's Noah Asenge, for example, which would suck, but we don't necessarily know his talent yet, so you might be willing to part from Noah Asenge or Patrick Williams. Would you be able to sacrifice picks in those sort of deals as well? If you could get Zion Williamson without sacrificing Buzelis, White, or Giddey, then I say go for it. Absolutely. Go full steam ahead, because the superstar quality, and, you know, I know he's always injury prone, but I think it's worth the risk to try to do something like that at 25 years of age for Zion Williamson, and knowing that he wants to play here. I think it could work. It could definitely work, and it could make us a phenomenal team. But if you have to get rid of one of those guys, I don't think it's worth it, because I think availability is more important than superstar quality at this point in time for the Bulls. And there's development in these guys that we could probably wait 3 years and then bring Zion Williamson in without sacrificing anyone. I think that could be a genuine possibility. So that's my answer for the Zion Williamson saga. I just don't know. That's the real thing. Like, I feel like that's a lot of the answers I have for the Chicago Bulls at the moment. I just don't know. And I do think the way that the Bulls are heading, we've been very reluctant to do anything. We've been very reluctant to sign free agents. We've been very reluctant to pull off trades. We've been very reluctant to do much. So I would personally say that hesitancy and that reluctantness would carry over for a Zion Williamson trade. I think we'd be too reluctant to pull the trigger on something like that. And I do think in the end, that's going to allow us to kind of stay where we are. All we've really done is got Isaac Okoro into the team, who sometimes I even forget is here. Like, I'm genuinely excited to see how he fits into the system. And we kept Trey Jones. We haven't even re-signed Josh Giddey yet. So this whole video could go up in flames if Josh Giddey goes somewhere else, if you know what I mean. So I'm excited to see what comes of it. But I feel like we will be hesitant and we will not take this risk. Do you agree? Let me know. Thank you for watching, though. See you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.